There we go. See if I can hear this now.
All right.
We are live.
Well, excuse me. Taking that earpiece out.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? White as I here. Yeah, have a little bit of wine right now. Seemed like a good day for it. Hey, just doing a live stream just for the hell of it. Probably saw the title of it. It's going to be about my ideas of how to bring back the classic franchises, since that's what's going to be happening, and how I think they could put a little twist on it so it's not the same old, but still get the stuff that we do like. And then there's going to be a surprise quick movie review. It's one I do appreciate. I do think it's a good one. I might do an actual real video for it, but I did feel like talking about it. But that's going to be a surprise for later. But for right now, I figured just so we can have some people maybe come here and come in, and before they miss my main topics, we'll do some news, some movie news actually. I'm getting this from imdb.com. Make sure this is all good. Okay. Deadpool and Wolverine crosses 1 billion. So that means they're definitely going to be changing the attitude of the new Marvel movies for sure. They'll probably go back to the classic. I wouldn't be surprised if we just get um, all of them coming back. I mean, I know we got Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom or whatever, but we'll get a new generation of all the classic heroes again. They'll do it again. I do want to see Deadpool versus Wolverine. Those ones are at least different. They're funny. I'm not a huge Deadpool fan, but I do appreciate what they do, and I think they are a good time watching for sure. Next, we got Frozen 3 comes back in 2027. Now, I don't hate Frozen, but it's not like I'm in love with it. But it's not of my time. But yeah, it's gonna be a third one. That's obvious. The Mandalorian and Grogu. God, I hate that name. It's terrible. Jon Favreau teases new Star Wars movie in more than 5 years. So it's going to be a Mandalorian movie. Wow, that's not a shock. Maybe I'm wrong here. Let's see. Generally unveil the first look at the upcoming Star Wars feature, The Mandalorian and Grogu. So, starring Pedro Pascal. Huh, that's weird. So I'm guessing it's going to be it's going to be a movie, probably a side story, like a mission they did, which is that's fine with me. That should be cool. I'm not, like I said, I'm not huge into Star Wars, but I'd probably watch that. I mean, definitely. Then Incredibles 3. We got Incredibles 3 coming out. Not like a huge fan of that, franchise, but it's good. I like it. That's Disney and Pixar. It's damn. The music's awesome. I gotta get that, and the heroes are funny. Avatar 3. So yeah, that was already kind of known, but I don't know. I liked Avatar. I thought it was really good. I thought it was one of the best blockbuster movies ever. You know what I mean? But I still didn't love it. I think it's one of the best ones, but I didn't. Everything felt forced. The heart and soul in it felt very forced. And the second one was okay. It wasn't terrible. Like I said, I mean, they visually looked amazing. I can't say anything about that, but it only takes you so far, man. The story was kind of boring to me. I don't know. Just not for me. Whatever. But I'll probably watch 3 though. Toy Story 5. My God, they keep going with those Toy Stories, don't they? Whatever. I guess it doesn't matter as long as they do it. Yeah, whatever. That's a show that has nothing to do with movies. Kurt Russell has 2 conditions to play Big Trouble in Little China's Jack Burton again. I don't really want to get into that, but if they could do a sequel after all these years, that'd be so fucking awesome. Like, out of all the movies, really, I would want John Carpenter to do a sequel to, it would be Big Trouble in Little China. I think it has the most room for a sequel, and like, it could be awesome. It could be really good, especially if we get Kurt Russell back. Hopefully that happens, because I'd rather have that than a remake. I tell you that right now. Okay. Okay. Looks like that's all we're getting now. Now it's just a bunch of shows again. Okay, well, I guess that is it for for news. That's well, I guess we spent enough time though. We spent like 5 minutes just bullshitting. It was just to kill some time. Anyway, let's get to the main the title of the video, like what the main subject is, which is all the horror franchises are coming back. I mean, they're rebooting. Jason's in the works. Freddy's in the works. Michael's in the works. Definitely, Texas Chainsaw as a video. Texas Chainsaw Massacre as the video game, but I hear that's coming back as well. I'm not 100% on that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, money, make money, money, make money, money. That's all they're thinking is with these franchises. And Chucky's still going, but he's ending. They say he's ending. I can see why. Brad Dourif, man, that voice. It's just like it's got to hurt every time he plays Chucky now. But I hear that's going out, and out of all the franchises, I have to applaud Chucky for sticking to an actual timeline that never breaks off, that doesn't have a different timeline, not like Halloween. It's not like Jason where it doesn't make sense in the continuity. Everything makes sense continuity wise. So fucking A, dude, way to go for the Chucky franchise. That's awesome. But anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if after that they do another Chucky with Mark Hamill. Or, we'll see, or maybe a remake of another Chucky movie. But I think if they have to bring these franchises back, and I know the big one, it's gonna be they're doing. I know Michael's coming back for sure, and this idea took to me is they should all go in the direction of Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare. That would be the best one, where we actually go meta and kind of put a little bit of real world into the movies. You know what I mean? And how I think you could do this with Michael would be the easiest one. You could have a character going to conventions. You could have your opening scene of POV of somebody walking through down by the in Pasadena by the neighborhood where the Michael Myers house is, where all the fans go to get pictures. Oh, it's the Myers house, and they got all those people out there. You could be walking through, and maybe he goes in, hides, finds some people, maybe he finds some kids that are like, oh, this is awesome, this is where they made the movie. Do all this meta shit where they're talking about the original and the tracking shot and the where they cut and stuff, and then you could have the guy dressed up as Michael Myers is taking it, a fan that takes it to the other level, and he like kills them there at the Michael Myers house, and that could be your intro. And you could also make him part of the convention circuit, so he could be killing people at different areas in the Michael Myers fashion. Yeah, even like pretty much cosplaying as Michael Jackson. He's like, oh yeah, I had these. Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna do another joke, but I'm not gonna. I was gonna see. This is the face I really want. See, it's white. But anyway, he could be going around the convention, stalking, potential victims that would be there. I mean, there would be, the asshole guys, the fangirls that would be good victims for him. I think you could easily do that with Michael Myers, and you can have the police trying to stop him, but FBI, but they have no idea, and it's like they'd have to like think like, well, we got the only way we can stop him is by like studying the movies and figuring out like where he would go next and what he would do and like what movies does he actually pay attention to? And like maybe you could have him be like, no, he's strictly a 5 and down like like movies. He's like he's a fan of the first, second, and fourth and fifth, and like why not the third? Like third has nothing to do with Michael. They're like, what? Like you do a bunch of shit. I think would be a little bit more interesting, and you could still have Michael Myers there. He's just not Michael Myers, but what does it matter? It's a man behind the mask killing somebody, and I think it'd be more entertaining that way because you could always, have him escape. Like my thing was they would never catch the guy. Like they would shoot a guy thinking we got him, and then we go back to POV at the end, like, oh shit, they didn't catch him. Like he's still gonna go around killing people. Oh, we got a guest. 1 second. Oh, say hello, Jonas. Oh God. He's going crazy. He's happy to be on camera. Whoa. You all right? Okay, we're just right there. All right, I'm gonna have to take a little inside here. Oh yeah, like I said, these aren't gonna go forever. Yeah, he is. Hi, Mo. How you doing? Yeah, he is. He's really excited. He was just taking a little nap, so now he's all happy. But that was just the idea right there. Yeah, you make it meta. I think you could do the same thing with all those killers. A guy who takes, a crazy. They could all be crazy movie fans, and I think that'd be fun. Instead of just having the actual it's Jason. Like, no, it's just some guy who's like an insane fan who likes his movies and who like picks which kind of Jason he wants to be. Like, it's like, what kind of Jason is this guy? Like, he's a Jason from like number 6. Like, why that one? Like, I don't know. It's like you must like that one the most. You can keep doing that. I think it would be fun. I think that'd be fun. Usually have a guy that goes to a campground for movie fans or goes to the actual camp, because I know that camp does like a Friday 13th theme, like camp, like for a week or some shit like that. So that'd be a perfect setting to do a movie like that. Yeah, he is. He's definitely full of a lot of energy. And yeah, that's that for that. So that's nothing. But anyway, that's what I think they should do instead of just doing the typical bringing them back. Like, oh, it's Michael again. Like, oh, it's like, okay, we're doing it again. Like, there's only so many times, like they did that they did the same thing in like the 30s and the 20s and 30s. Like, they brought characters over and over, and they ended up being like done to death, or like they haven't done them like ever since. So I'm just saying, like, what, if you're gonna beat them into the ground, at least do something different. But anyway, I'm just gonna do another quick thing. So we're gonna talk about. Well, I'm gonna talk about a movie here. Go right here. I think it's what I like to call a second tier classic. It's a movie that wasn't that successful as it should have been, and it's not the best of its genre, but I think it's a damn good movie, and it is worth like talking about with like the other classic fantasy movies of its time. I'm talking about Beowulf from 2007. Here's right here. There you go. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis. They use CGI. The movie's complete CGI. It's one of the good and bad things about this movie is the CGI. I'll get into that in a little bit. Just real quick, who it stars. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis. He did he did Back to the Future and Castaway and a bunch of other great movies. But yeah, he did this in 2007, and it stars oh man, Ray Winston. He's awesome. He's in a Sexy Beast. He's a really good actor, British. He's Beowulf in this, and it's one of my favorite performances, other than Sexy Beast, actually, and also The Departed. He's awesome in that too. But he's really good, and he's just voice acting. But I like the character of Beowulf so much in this movie. He's really fucking cool. Also, Anthony Hopkins. And also, he's the king that Beowulf comes to serve in fighting their land that is haunted by a beast known as Grendel. And Grendel's actually played by Crispin Glover, which is funny because Crispin Glover, after Back to the Future 1, he wanted a crazy amount to do part 2. And so they're like, screw it, we don't have to hire him. We'll just have his character be upside down, like for his back injury. And then we'll just not paint, but we'll put his face. You'll get someone to sculpt his face and put it on an actor's face. Then we're taken care of. And that actually turned to a huge lawsuit. Crispin Glover did, and took like a while, but Crispin Glover won actually. And like, it's a thing for actors. Studios can't just put a face on somebody. I know they do that digital now when an actor is dead, but I think they got to get the permission from the family or something like that or whatever. They can't just do it like they did in part 2. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, like that was kind of like, that created some tension between Zemeckis and those guys, Spielberg and, Crispin Glover. Like, so they're kind of like, this fucking guy. But it's funny that, they obviously made up, and he's like, oh, why don't you be in the movie? And it's like, oh yeah, who am I playing? Like, you'll be a fucking troll. Like, you'll be an ugly, monstrous troll. And Crispin Glover probably got a big kick out of that. Like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can definitely do that. But yeah, I thought that was funny. That's definitely like an inside little joke thing. You can obviously. And oh yeah, this actually also stars Angelina Jolie, and it's actually one of my favorite performances, and she's not actually in the movie. So yeah, but I think she does a good job getting the voice, her voice and the way she speaks for the character. It just really works. And also the way her character, who is a dragon, who's a very powerful, malicious, evil, mystical dragon. But she's great in this. Very hypnotic. Very kind of reminds me of Maleficent. The way she talks, like in that, yeah, like very melody, almost kind of sing-songy way. Really good, really good. But anyway, Beowulf is actually based off It's based off an old legend, so old that nobody knows who actually wrote it. But it's a classic medieval story, like hero's journey. Beowulf is he's a hero for hire, like a mercenary, and this village is plagued with this monster Grendel, who is anytime they sing, like this village sings loud songs or makes merry, he comes and just like slaughters them. Like, he does brutal shit. He's huge. He's like 12 feet tall, so he grabs people and just like fucking throws them. He bites people's heads off. He rips their arms off. It's all this is in the movie. It's done very decently, and very well. Like, it's brutal, but without being too over the top on the gore, because it is PG-13. I wish they did an R cut of this movie. I would have loved it. But this is where the CG is really handy, actually, where like, yeah, it looks super good. Like Grendel's a really deformed humanoid. He's got a huge head, like humpback. He's got these weird hands that have like kind of human hands, human fingers, and then these claws because he's half man, half dragon. Because because he was birthed of, well, we'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, he just destroys that village, and they had called Beowulf to kill Grendel for him, and so they can have fun and get not have to worry about being having their heads bitten off. Anyway, Beowulf comes, he accepts the offer, he tells fantastic stories, and it's great. He actually like just waiting for. He tells his guys like sings because this is what brings the beast, sing, and he comes and he just fucks up Beowulf's like army. He doesn't kill them all, but he definitely kills like a quarter of them, and he definitely injures a good amount of them too. But yeah, Beowulf does figure out a weakness of Grendel, which happens to be hitting his eardrum, and that's why his eardrum is super sensitive, and that's why the singing wasn't more. I think it was more than just the singing. I think it was the joyfulness, because Grendel was a depressed, angry individual, and anytime someone expressed joy, that he'd lash out on them. Very deep, actually, kind of like some like Manhunter shit, really, when you think of. Another thing is, okay, so he kills him, and then we find out like there's another monster because they have another party, a celebration. Beowulf killed the beast, and the king's like, "Oh, thank God! Like we're done." And he's like, "Ah, that's great. Thanks for the money, thanks for the time." And like, there's something the king's just kind of like, "Yeah, maybe you might want to stay around, just in case, stay the night. Don't leave tonight. Stay the night, and then go in the morning." They do it, and when Beowulf wakes up from this weird dream that he has of like this hissing like voice, he wakes up and he's in this hole, this party hall for that him and his men were sleeping in, and all except his right hand man, who's actually God, I forget his name, but he's in Braveheart. He's Mel Gibson's right hand man in Braveheart too, actually. Brendan Gleeson. He's awesome. He's in a great movie called The General, where he's like he's one of Ireland's most famous thieves, and it's a really good movie shot in black and white. But anyway, he's the only one that's doesn't. He's not killed and gutted and slit up, and it's just like Beowulf's shocked because he's like, "Oh my God, somebody just mutilated my men while I slept." While I slept. So he's very like shooken up, and he's like, "What did this? I already killed Grendel. Like, what happened?" And that's when the king says, "Well, he has a mother." And he's like, "Well, how do you know if he has a mother? Like, why don't you say something?" And he's like, "Well, he's like, let's not get into that." And basically, this dragon, it's more than a dragon. It comes as a man's most desired, kind of Lord of the Rings with the ring, how it's like this desire for power and greed, and you want to say like but Angelina Jolie is the actress in the form, so she's like a dragon, but she comes in the form of a woman, and of course she's like very good looking, and they're just like, oh, so she is kind of playing more of man's like greed for gold and flesh and and fun, because Beowulf is a guy who loves singing songs about how he's had a lot of women, he's killed a lot of monsters, he's drank a lot of beer. I mean, you could give him a Ford truck and he'd be happy. Like he's just like, yeah. So she plays off that, and that's how she keeps creating these spawns of other like very hateful, like vengeful monsters. It's the only way to say it's monsters, because they do hate and want to kill people, and they're they don't want to love anything. They're very evil, but it's just fantastic. So he Beowulf's like, all right, I'm gonna go kill this woman. I'm gonna kill this dragon beast. He goes there. It's a great setup, like really good scene. I can't really describe it 100% because he's in like this cave and there's all this gold around. And like just more stuff to tempt any guy that goes in there from wanting to like think of killing her. Like, and personally, I don't think you could kill her anyway. I think she is a representation of an undying greed and lust and hate and anger and power. Like it's just that's what she represents. Anyway, Beowulf fails. He just ends up, getting with her too, and he comes back and he's like, "Oh, I defeated the beast." Like, because I didn't see her after we had sex, so he comes back and the king knows. He's like, "Oh, you didn't kill her." Like, I know. He's like, because he's like, "Oh yeah, how was Grendel's mother? What did she look like?" He was like, "She was hideous, horrendous, a horrendous monster, and I cut her head off, and I smashed her head, and I kicked her face into that pool of water." He's like, "Yeah, horrendous looking, huh? Sure." he's like, "You lied." He's like, "But Grendel was his son, the king. His son is taken care of, so the king's like, well, my my curse has been lifted." And he just kills himself. He just jumps from these cliffs, and right after he makes Beowulf the new king of the kingdom. Right, and then cut to like 30 years later, Beowulf is an old man and he's a king, and he's got mistresses. He's got a handmaiden, his wife, his queen. That's another thing. He kind of had a thing with the queen. Like the queen found him very intriguing, and like kind of looked at him as like a new hope for this land to not have to go through this curse. But she knows that he failed that too, and that's another thing. Like the queen kind of represents the woman who, like not only a woman, just but the spouse who has to stay with somebody who's like a little bit a little too into their own things and their own pleasure. You know what I mean? But she does it for the good of the kingdom because she's the queen. But Beowulf has fallen off. Kind of, he's old. I mean, he's old too. So it's 30 years. He thinks nothing of it, and then out of nowhere, there's a gold dragon scene, and he just like is blowing fire on just all his villagers and all his people, and Beowulf is forced to go and kill his son now, and he knows it's his son, and it's this magnificent golden dragon. Like, I think since Grendel was deformed and really odd and weird looking, and then Beowulf's son is golden and majestic and beautiful and powerful and strong, it must be whatever the quality of man that she gets, like a good, like the more powerful and stronger the man she can have to mate with, the more powerful and stronger her son or her offspring will be. And so Beowulf's son is a motherfucker, and he just like destroys. Like, it's a great dragon scene too. It's very good. Make sure. Make sure that. Okay, cool. Anyway, it's a great dragon destroying a village scene, like really on par with the end of Game of Thrones. Actually, it's like really good, really fucking good. And it ends with Beowulf ripping out the heart of this dragon, and he does it in the most badass way. He's like hung on the dragon. The dragon's ready to kill his wife and his handmaiden, his side woman, and he just like he's kind of stuck and he can't reach inside the chest, and he just cuts his own arm off basically, and he's hanging by his chainmail to get that extra lean in, and he just grabs it, pulls it out, and he gives this like it's like one of the greatest screams in cinema history. It's like a totally like I fucking got you, motherfucker. Yeah. Dragon falls. They die. The dragon turns into a man for like a minute, and Beowulf is heartbroken because he realized like he just had to kill his own son, and he doesn't have any mortal sons. That's the only kid. It seems like if you mate with that woman, you never have any children with any other woman. Like so, and that's another thing. That queen's very like bitter because she could never have an heir of her own because this evil force was just more attractive and too tempting to keep away from the men that she had. Anyway, and it's a great movie. Beowulf is given a hero's burial at sea. They put him out and burn it, and you see him go down, and then like Beowulf's wife and his best friend is waiting there. He's the king now. His best friend's the king, and you see this till for a second, and then his friend is now the king's going back. Everybody's gone. He's like, I lost my friend. He turns around and he hears a splash, and he sees Angelina Jolie in the water, and you just know the whole thing's about to happen again. So it's like, it's really good. It's a great ending. Really good, really good. One of the best things about this is the CGI. The CGI is actually, I believe, ahead of its time. It's super good most of the time. Now, there is moments very scattered, like in the movie, that look very first Shrek CGI, where it's got that, yeah. It just doesn't look the same. It doesn't look the same as the rest of the movie. It gets like, whoa, it gets a little cartoonish, like, which throws the movie off a little bit. Like, there's some amazing CGI shots too, actually, when Beowulf's son is in his dragon form and he's flying over this hillside into the village. It looks fantastic. You're like, wow, that looks really good. But then there's other parts where it's like people, when they're like kind of zooming in on them and doing this, and it just doesn't look good. But I mean, it holds up. I mean, I still think you can get past it, but it's one of the things that I think hurt the movie, like, for sure, and especially now. Yeah, there's just a lot of things. I love the hero's journey thing. I just love how this is based off an old old mythology. I think that's severely underused is old mythology. Like, we could have so much more movies that like are more mystical and fantastical, but you got to bring back Freddy and Jason because people know. You got to bring back Lord of the Rings. You got to bring back got to bring back Willow. You got to bring back all the stuff that like. There's all these old stories and old movies that suck that could be remade. But yeah, anyway. Well, it's already 7:04. I was just planning to go a half an hour. Is there anything? Oh, you know what? 1 second. Oh yeah, here's my glass. I know you guys. Sister gave that to me. See if I can. Look at that. That's beautiful, huh? Oh. All right, there you go. Oh, shit. Light sneaking in. Shit. See what the light comes on. All right, whatever. The illusion is ruined. But anyway. Some tequila, Anino. I washed it down with a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc. Well, anyway, yeah, that's Beowulf. I would highly recommend it, especially if you like fantasy films. Like I said, I kind of wish it was a rated R movie, but it's not. But it feels R. It definitely feels R, and which is good. That means they didn't take away the seriousness of the movie away. It's definitely in the tone of what it should be, very serious and very scary and dark. Well, I guess that's all I have really for right now. Unless I have anything else I can think of. I really can't think of anything else, guys. I'm sorry. I was thinking of doing a live commentary. I don't know which movie though. It'd just be me talking right here though. Be watching a movie. It'd probably be a lot of this. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, that's interesting too. That guy was in this movie, and this movie was that movie, and that movie was that movie. But hey, maybe we'll see. I'm not sure. Probably not, but it would be fun. I think it'd be fun. Oh, you know what? I can talk about one more other movie that I got. It's a little off and out of nowhere, but it's a movie that I grew up loving. Oh, there's Jonas again. But real quick, I Was a Teenage Zombie. I love this movie. It's a very cheesy, low budget. Obviously, a bunch of friends got together to do this movie, and that's why I like it. Actually, it kind of reminds me of Ed Wood a little bit. Not in the fact that they show the process of making a movie, but you can tell that process was done with this movie. There were probably just a bunch of kids like, oh shit, I love the spirit of it. The guy who played the main villain right here, Pimp, whose name is Mussolini, he's really good in it. The acting's really it's terrible, but it's funny. It's pretty funny actually, but it's got also a great soundtrack, great 80s bands. You'd be like shocked actually how many good bands: the Smithereens, the Del Fuegos, Violent Femmes, also Los Lobos, and the Flesh Tones with the theme song "I Was a Teenage Zombie." Very awesome, kick-ass soundtrack. Probably one of the best soundtracks for like a horror movie. Really is considering the budget. One funny thing about this movie is it's actually part of the Criterion Collection. You're probably thinking, why is it part of the Criterion Collection? Because one of the guys in this movie, who's not the main character, but the second main character, actually worked for Criterion, and he found out that Criterion early in their career in like the late 80s when they were buying up movies, they wanted a few movies, but this company said, we'll give you those for this, but you also have to take these movies because we don't want them. And one of them was I Was a Teenage Zombie. They said yes, and they've had it ever since, but they have never done an official Criterion release. They're not really interested. There is a 4K updated version, and it's actually done by the guy who was in the movie, and he worked on it, and the 4K was made by him. So you have this great version. So if you have HBO or the Criterion on demand, you can watch this in 4K, and it's a lot of fun. I recommend it. I Was a Teenage Zombie. It's a fun little movie. There's some pretty crazy shit that happens, but definitely check it out. I believe it's on YouTube. If not, shit, I might have to just upload it on YouTube if I can. All right. Well, anyway, 7:10. All right, I gotta get going. So, this was a lot of fun. Again, hope it was entertaining enough for you guys. But I'll try to think of a couple more things so we can have a little more topics to talk about. I still got more, but I just wanted to do something for today. So anyway, well, I'll see you guys later. You have a good night. Peace out.